welcome back to another episode of the Screen Addicts Pod. I'm gonna try that again.
Oh,
I don't even know what
jeez.
I don't even know what happened. That was some major glitch. You know what? I'm just
Ooh,
gonna roll with it because that's what exactly what happens when we take a week off, Chris. We
that's right.
forget how to completely function and run this show that we've been doing for 7 years. Well,
I mean, it was just saying hello, and you already.
it's not even that late. It's like we're recording at 11:30 at night or something. No, it's like
No.
9:30. But anyway, so I am Cinema PD Steven Sosa.
And I am Detective TV Viegas.
Yes. So as by our authoritative names, we will be talking about our favorite police officers in TV, mind you, because I couldn't remember if we've done police officers in movies. I feel like we have before, but I don't think we have. I know we've done our favorite cop movies, but we've
Right.
never really narrowed it down to police officers specifically. But that's what we're going to be doing this week, as we will be doing it specifically for TV, though. And this is just for you, Chris, because you
All
powered
right.
through all of October. You're past the ghoulish scares of everything that was provided in that month, and you persevered. Did you have any nightmares in this last month?
Pretty much that's why we took a week off, because I was trying to catch up on sleep
Yeah.
because of all the nightmares. So, I appreciate it, and I'm glad it's over. And it was great, but I'm glad it's over.
I love how people are still trolling you by sending you horror movies that take place in Thanksgiving and Christmas.
I know, and then the big announcement, and I don't know if it'll cut into headlines, but the announcement of Terrifier, the next Terrifier movie taking place during Christmas. Ugh.
I mean, that is the gift that keeps on giving, Chris. I don't know about you, but we've got to go see it together. That'll be a Christmas present to me.
Or we
That
can just stream it together somehow.
right. We'll do a watch party. But no, I forgot to mention that in my headlines. But yeah, that's so true. That Terrifier 3 is going to be set during Christmas, so that's kind of smart too, man, because holiday themed movies are all the rage, and it's pretty smart to have one within the series of an existing franchise to do something like that. It's a pretty clever idea, and man, the things he's going to do with candy canes, I
Oh
can't
my
even
gosh.
imagine. But before we get all the way to Christmas, we are in Thanksgiving, almost Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving will
Almost.
be next week. And Thanksgiving, that's another horror movie coming out. And that's kind of the first one for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
The long awaited Eli Roth adaptation from his Grindhouse mock trailer from all the way back in 2007. So I'm definitely going to be going to see that this weekend. I'm pretty excited to see that one. But prior to that, I mean, have you watched anything good this last few weeks?
Oh man, I wish I could say I've been busy watching stuff, but I have been busy doing other things. I've had a jam-packed schedule, and it doesn't seem to be letting up until after Thanksgiving. So my TV time has been limited this week, and last week as well. But I will say, I was in a hotel room this past weekend, and I happened to stop on a movie for the last 20 minutes of it, I guess you would say. But I watched the last 20 minutes of Biker Boys.
Oh my God. With
Yeah.
Delroy Lindo, who was that wasn't
Lawrence
Anthony
Fishburne.
Lawrence
and-
Fishburne, and Delroy Lindo's in that, isn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
okay. Oh
yeah.
my God. Who are
And
the young guys in
Megan
that?
Good is in it.
That's a plus.
That's why I stopped, really. I mean,
Yeah.
be
Who
real.
are that's not Derek Luke, right? Antoine Fisher, he's the main one in that, right? In Biker
Right.
Boys?
Yeah.
Because there's another motorcycle movie that came out around the same time. Not Torque with Ice Cube. Well, I guess maybe that one was around the same time. But I thought there was another like black oriented biker movie like that was coming out around the same time. I don't know. I could be wrong, but yeah, definitely Biker Boys was just a product of its time. I haven't seen that movie in so long, dude.
Dude, I hadn't either, and I hadn't seen it in so long. There's a lot that I forgot about that movie, and it kind of drew me in the last 20 minutes. And I'm like, oh, I remember that. Oh, I remember that. So,
Does it hold up at all, or?
eh,
Yeah.
unless you're really pining for it,
Like you,
no.
apparently.
I guess so. I mean, I just came across it. I was like, what is this? And then, like, 2-3 minutes in, I was like, oh, this is what this is. Oh, okay.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to go and watch Biker Boys now. This is ridiculous.
It is. It
Oh
really
my god,
is.
you always send me on just a random journey, because like there will at least be one movie that I will watch from your lists of things that you
Hmm.
watch, just because I haven't thought of it in a long time, or I liked Biker Boys when it came out. I liked all those goofy, road oriented movies. And I mean, what
Oh,
happened
and
to the?
Kid Rock was in this, and
Oh
he
my god.
is the part where I saw in the last part of the movie is he's all there's only a couple bikes as strong as what Ghost or whatever his name, Lawrence Fishburne's
Hmm.
character's name is, and that's mine and yours is trashed. I'll let you borrow mine. I'm like, oh my god, Kid Rock,
Pure
stop.
poetry. Who wrote this, Shakespeare?
No joke. Uh,
That's hilarious.
so, sad to say, but that is the pretty much the extent of my TV movie watching.
That is grim.
It
A show that
is.
you
It
have
is.
watched.
Yeah, it's sad, and I think I'm just saving up till the little Thanksgiving break. Uh,
Hmm.
I'll have uh, a lot more free time. A lot of
Yeah.
things are ending, and so a lot more free time, and then I'll save myself for Reacher.
Oh my god, I cannot wait for that. We posted the trailer on our socials, Screen Addicts pages, and man, I cannot wait to see
Oh
Reacher.
man,
I actually got my
yeah.
mother-in-law. She was telling me the other day. She's like, "Hey, what's a good show to watch?" Like, and I kind of know like what their gauge is of things. Like, I'm not recommending The Boys to them or anything like that.
Right.
Like, and son, his dad is a former veteran. Oh, and yes, happy Veterans Day. I know it's a couple days
Absolutely.
later, but happy Veterans Day to everyone that served. And he's a former veteran himself, so I know he likes a lot of those military themed type of shows. And I was like, oh my god, have y'all not seen Reacher? And she was, because I posted the trailer, and they
Mhm.
saw that trailer, and she wrote me and she was like, oh, that looks really good. Is that this is season 2, so there's one season out? I'm like, oh yeah, it's on Prime. So she and my father-in-law watched it, and they binged it, man. Like, they cut through it in a couple of days. And I'm like, yeah, it's a very bingeable show. It's such a great show. And yeah, I definitely can't wait for season 2. But oh, and then of course on the TV we saw our Texas Rangers win the World Series for the first time in franchise
First
history.
time, yes, it was amazing.
Man, that was like,
Hmm.
that was crazy. I never thought I would see that in my lifetime. Hell, my dad was like, I never thought I would see it in my lifetime. I'm like, man, yeah, you've been waiting a lot longer than I have.
Hmm.
But man, that was pretty that's a pretty emotional moment. And I kind of like how sports can do that, cuz I'm watching the game, right? And I'm watching
Hmm.
it as a spectator of sports, obviously, but there's something about it that presents it cinematically. These grand moments in movies, like especially sports movies. Like, what are the big climactic moments of sports movies? When they
Hmm.
win the big games, right? It's that just celebratory feeling of winning the championship in whatever movie you're watching, right? So you're watching the
Yeah,
Rangers and they win the World Series, and it's just like this crazy like movie. It felt like watching a movie. So I don't know, because it
absolutely.
didn't feel real for starters, but it was just such a great moment. But yeah, definitely kudos to the Texas Rangers. And well, I guess if that's all you got, man, I've got
Yeah.
plenty.
Jump in, my friend.
Okay, well, here we go. I'm going to start with all the movies that I watched, and I watched Sly, on Netflix, the Netflix documentary movie. And man, I gotta tell you, they really gypped Sly. He only gets like 1 2 hour movie on Netflix, but Arnold had like this 3 episode miniseries for him. And I thought, man, they really undercut Sly there. And there wasn't really anything too compelling about it, nothing that you didn't really know before. The one thing that
Mm-hmm.
I really noticed in this documentary was that his dad was a real jerk, man. He was a real prick. And I felt bad for Stallone and his brother Frank, and it was an interesting look. I don't know. I would say if you're a huge Sylvester Stallone fan to watch it, but like any great documentary, if you're not a fan or understand what the topic is about, you'll still be engaged with it because it's so good. This is the opposite. I think that if you're not a Stallone fan, there's going to be nothing about it that will grab your attention and make you want to watch it. So I think it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely made for fans, but it was okay. I was just expecting a lot more. And speaking of expecting a lot more, I watched The Exorcist Believer, the brand new Exorcist film, and it was pretty subpar, man. I don't understand how it was okay. I think that having Ellen Burstyn come back, reprising her role from the original, she's in like 2 or 3 scenes in the entire movie, and I'm thinking, well, you're kind of like bringing her in there to kind of make this hinged or latched onto the original series, right? Like making it have continuity. But if you're doing it just to do that, like you're not really telling a story. And I think that it basically gets to, well, spoilers, to the very end when her and Reagan reconnect, right? Because that's it. Like you want her and Reagan, you want to see them because that is The Exorcist. And so you only get them in one scene at the end. And I'm like, wow, they really just were getting to this moment. This is the best part of the movie, and now the movie's over. And there was nothing really scary about the possession stuff. It's kind of exactly like what we were talking about with those other possession movies. It's just like you've seen one, you've seen them all, and this one wasn't really breaking the book. Finally got to see Dumb Money, the movie about the AMC, or I'm sorry, the GameStop stock. That was a good. Did you see Dumb Money? You haven't seen that yet, by any chance, have you? I Did you see Dumb Money?
No, I haven't watched that one yet.
Oh, okay.
I'm very interested in it too, though,
Yeah.
because I know when that thing popped off, our little group of friends started talking stocks like crazy, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't understand, but I bought stocks anyway.
You remember how Jeremy? Yeah, and it's like we kept asking Jeremy. I don't know why we put so much
I
stock
don't
in
know,
Jeremy's
right?
opinion, like he's the fucking Wolf of Wall Street or something. And I'm like, do we sell now? What are we doing here? And that was also the AMC stock. Remember, because they were trying to
Yeah.
say that the AMC stock was the next company that was going to skyrocket to the moon because of all of the
Mm-hmm.
buys and the insider trading with being withheld and all this stuff, and they were really trying to push that one. And I guess people weren't really holding like they were with the GameStop trade. And the
Mm-hmm.
movie was really good. I thought it was really interesting how it took different perspectives of people that had put money into it, and their money's growing and growing, and some of them didn't. They lost a lot of money, and it's kind of sad that you just didn't sell when you should have sold. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
GameStop, right? Or I'm sorry, AMC stock, our stock that we were all buying. I'm like, well, it's not going to get any higher than 300 for me, so I'm just going to cash out at 300. I put
Yeah.
in like 100, so I feel like this is pretty good for me. and
That's
and I'm
winning, baby.
Yeah, and I'm glad I did. I actually did it right before we went to Vegas because that like helped with my Vegas
Same.
fund. So
Same.
and then Jeremy's like, I don't even know if Jeremy still has even sold his stock yet.
He probably still has it. Hell, I don't know. He's still waiting for it to take off, I'm thinking.
He's like, to the moon, baby. I'm like, Jeremy, you'll go to the moon before that stock will. But yeah, but Dumb Money, it was good. I definitely recommend that. If you like money, insider trading kind of movies like that. I watched David Fincher's new movie, The Killer, starring Michael Fassbender. Now, this is a really interesting movie. Like, this just came out, and some people said they had seen it, some people hadn't, and I thought it was okay. I'll tell you what, I thought it was a good movie, right? I thought it was good, but it didn't feel like a David Fincher movie. When you put that movie in comparison to the rest of David Fincher movies, it doesn't hold any kind of water. Like, I was watching The Killer and I was thinking, I feel like anybody could have made this movie. Like, because on Netflix, there's a lot of original movies on Netflix, right? And there's not really too many directors that are consistent. Like, you don't have that one or two directors that are exclusive to Netflix cranking out just bangers. But I thought, okay, well, this is David Fincher, and I'm watching it. And I'm like, man, this doesn't feel like anything different than anybody else has done. Like, I feel like any director could have made this movie. Like, I'm talking about a guy that made Fight Club, Seven, The Social Network, Benjamin Button, Gone Girl. Like, this is the same guy that's doing this movie, and it just didn't feel like it. It did, as far as how it looked and tone, but it was pretty straightforward. And there were some really good things about it. But again, I didn't think it was like the best. I just thought it was a pretty good movie.
So do you think you say it's not that great because you went in with such high expectations with
Yes.
a Fincher movie?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what.
Mm.
Because if I'm comparing it with the rest of his filmography, it's like almost bottom rung. Like,
Oh,
it doesn't hold any kind of weight compared to those other monsters that he's created. But
okay,
as
so let me ask you this though: if you don't know, if you're a regular person,
Mhm,
not a big cinephile, you don't know, like
sure.
you hear the word David Fincher, you're like, who? Um, is this movie good enough for them to be like, oh, damn, this is nice?
Well, see, I think I don't think it's that great either, like from that
Okay.
perspective, because yeah, I was looking at it through the eyes of a Fincher fan, but then I'm also looking at it from a regular perspective, and there's not a lot of action in it. So if you think that you're going to go in and watching an action movie, you're not going to get that. There's a
Hmm.
couple of hit scenes that are pretty interesting. There's one incredibly well choreographed fight sequence towards the end of the movie, and I was really blown away by how that looked, and that was incredible. That was one of the best fight scenes I've seen in a long time, and not, outside of like Asian martial arts movies, but it was really well done. But aside from that, it's a pretty straightforward. You know what I hold it akin to, but it's not as good as like Drive with Ryan Gosling. You remember? You
Okay.
remember? Because it's, that movie comes off looking like an action movie, and they market it like it was an action movie. It wasn't an action movie. It's kind of like this. Like this, the killer is marketed in a sense like it's a Jason Bourne, John Wick, type assassin, but it's not. It's kind of more character based, and it's fine. But I still don't think that, I don't know. It's just not as good from either of those perspectives. But that being said, it's still a good movie, just not great. Not what I was expecting.
Okay.
And speaking of something that was not that great either, was Five Nights at Freddy's. And I finally got Connor to watch it with me, and I'm glad I did because he was a fan of the game. So I was having him kind of explain some of the lore to me, and then even he was like, "Oh, I don't know." I was like, what's PETA from Hunger Games doing? Like, what's all this stuff with his little brother being abducted when he was young?" He's like, "I don't know. This is all added to the movie." I'm like, "Oh, okay, so
Nice.
that's all different." But I was kind of hoping it would be a little bit better. It was okay, I guess, not the worst. And honestly, I thought Nicolas Cage's Willy's Wonderland was way better than that movie. It's a lot more of
Hmm.
what I was expecting from this one. Like Nicolas Cage just fighting possessed animatronic robots at a pizzeria. I mean,
Right.
you're getting exactly what you want with that. And I would recommend Willy's Wonderland over Five Nights at Freddy's any chance I could. Um, last two movies that I had, me and Sonia actually watched two back-to-back Apple Plus movies. The first one was one that I had noticed. It's been on my radar for a couple of months or a couple of weeks because I saw a trailer a couple of weeks ago, and it's this movie called Flora and Son, and it's set in Ireland, and I believe it's like modern day Belfast or whatever. But um, this young girl, she had a son when she was really young, and it's just her and her son, and they live in kind of the projects, and they're both very uncouth and unclassy, and she's just
Mm.
kind of wanting to reconnect with her kid. And so she finds this old guitar, gets it fixed up, and starts taking guitar lessons. And she chooses a character played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who is her guitar teacher. They do like a web-based tutorial, and so they meet up, and then they strike this like very nice friendship, and it's starting to kind of blossom into something more. And then she's starting to connect with her son musically because he loves music, and they love hip-hop, they love just all kinds of music, so they're kind of working together. And it was such a great movie. And people, if they're a fan of Once or Begin Again with Mark Ruffalo and Keira Knightley, or Sing Street, like John Carney is the writer and director of all four of these movies. Like, this guy is so good about fusing music with the film's plot and characters, and he's just a
Hmm.
master at that. And I wasn't surprised that this movie was so good. I thought it was thoroughly entertaining. It was funny. It's kind of raunchy, just like you want, just, the sense of humor is kind of dark and funny. And some of the drama is pretty heavy. It was a really good movie. It's on Apple Plus, Flora and Sam. And the other one that we saw on Apple Plus was that movie called Fingernails that I had posted about. And
Oh
I,
yeah.
I was like, oh, what's this? And I was like, oh, this has Jesse Buckley and Riz Ahmed and Jeremy Allen White from The Bear. Like, what is this movie? So it's all three people that both me and Sonia really like. So we kind of looked at the trailer. We started watching the trailer, and I was like, okay, yeah, turn it off. Let's just watch it. So we started watching this movie, and it's a weird, quirky film. It's set in this type of, I think it's present day, maybe the late 90s, early 2000s. The time period is very obscure. Like, it could be today, it could have been 20 years ago. It's very weird, but some of the references that they're making are modern day and 90. I don't know. It was really weird. But anyway,
Hmm.
it's this company that it's established because you have to pull off your fingernails, like one of your fingernails, and you do a comparison with your partner. Say if you're in a relationship, you could take these courses to be, to determine whether or not you're matched with their partner. So the only way to really tell is by pulling off your pinky nail, and they put it in this machine, and it analyzes it from a DNA standpoint, and then the machine will tell you either 0%, you're not a match, so you need to break up and find your perfect person. It's this weird kind of dystopian type of thing. And then it says if it's 50%, one of the people in the relationship is in love, but the other one's not. But then if it's 100%, then you're meant to be together. So you end up being together. It's this weird, it's like being John Malkovich, Eternal Sunshine type of stuff,
Some Black Mirror shit.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of like, it could pass for an episode of that, but it was just really engaging as far as like, human interaction and how you are with people. Because Jeremy Allen White and Jesse Buckley are married and they matched 100%, but here they are not happy with each other. They're arguing. They don't have a lot in common. They can't really find anything to do like that they like together, and they're just kind of confused,
Mhm.
especially the woman. She's like, how is this, how are we 100%? Well, then she starts working with Riz Ahmed's character, and she starts to fall in love with him and everything that he is, and he's reciprocating of that. They don't do anything, but they have this like attachment to each other, and they can't explain it. And so she's kind of wondering, like, maybe I should take the test with him or something, and it's just a really interesting character study. I thought it was a pretty good movie.
She gonna run out of fingernails.
I know, right? And that's something funny about the movie too, but it's pretty thought provoking, kind of like Her with Joaquin Phoenix, how you evaluate relationships. And I like how it's almost like, I mean, I know you and I aren't on Tinder or any kind of dating apps because we've been with our significant others for such a long time, but you
Mhm.
always hear about your friends or family on these dating apps. So it's just kind of like it's matching you up with these people. So it's like, how is a computer system going to tell me who I'm going to be in love with or how I should feel about this person? And what's funny about the
Right.
movie is like people that are at 0%, they fully accept that notion. And then they're like, well, okay, well, it was nice knowing you. I guess that's it. Yeah. Goodbye. And it's so crazy. So then they go and meet somebody else, and hopefully they're 100%. But it's a very interesting movie. I thought it was a lot. It's slow paced, yes, but it's kind of like an old indie art house drama anyway. But moving on, three shows that I want to talk about real quick. And the first are, well, Invincible started back. Invincible is so good. The animated series on Amazon Prime.
Mhm.
Robert Kirkman's, it's such a great show. Highly recommend Invincible. There's this opening montage with um, Karma Police by Radiohead playing. It's one of the best montages I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, well, I think I'm just going to turn this off because I don't think it's going to get any better than this. But it's a fantastic show. Gen V, which is the Boys spinoff,
Mhm.
it concluded, and I finally watched the last 3 episodes of that, so I'm completely caught up with that series, season 1 anyway. And I did read that all the events that transpired at the end of Gen V will correlate directly with the next season of The Boys. So if you didn't watch Gen V, but you did watch The Boys, you do have to watch Gen V because it's kind of one of those tricky things that they do that makes you have to watch. It's almost like Marvel, but we're going to get into that later.
Uh,
But But Gen V, I highly recommend it anyway, just because it is really good. I thought it was good as a standalone. But let me tell you a show that Sonia and I watched on Disney Plus, the new Goosebumps. Have you watched any of those yet?
I've watched some. I haven't watched the newest one.
Okay. The the full season's out now, and I'm talking about the one with Justin Long. So they redid the series with Justin Long, and it is so it was so good. I was taken aback by how good it was. We started one episode during Halloween, our Halloween watch-alongs. That's a different movie, but our Halloween watch-alongs, and
I, I was a B-roll character in that movie.
yeah,
Just
dear
saying.
God, I knew I saw you, but
Mm-hmm.
the but Goosebumps. So we watched one. We're like, all right, well, we'll save it till after Halloween. And then Sonya was off last Friday for Veterans Day. We literally watched all 8 episodes of Goosebumps in one day. We were just hooked to it. It was so good. And basically, what happens is that they took some of the more popular Goosebumps books editions, right, like The Haunted Mask, How to Eat Worms, all that kind of stuff. And what they would do with each episode was that they took one character and involve that character with one of those books, like surrounded that book's plot line with one of those characters. But it's one overall revolving story. So it's all intertwined together. And I was like, damn, that is brilliant. Like, it's not an anthology series by any means because it's all one long narrative story. And I thought, damn, that was absolutely brilliant how they did that.
That's cool.
It was really good. I highly recommend the Goosebumps series. And to conclude my watch list,
Your watch-a-thon?
my watch-a-thon, my watch thongs, and we watched The Fall of the House of Usher, the new Netflix series.
Ooh,
And
it's good.
it is fantastic.
It is good.
It is the Mike Flanagan's new series, and Mike Flanagan, if you don't know, he also created The Haunting of Hill House, The Haunting of Bly Manor, Midnight Club, Midnight Mass, and that guy, I read somewhere that people were saying how critical they were of David Gordon Green, who did the Exorcist movie and the new Halloween series. They're like, why isn't Mike Flanagan making these horror movies? Like, why did you get Danny McBride's goofy co-writing partner to be making all these horror movies when Mike Flanagan's right here? And, I was telling that to Sonia. She's like, well, he probably wants to do what he's doing because it allows him more creativity. And these are original stories for the most part. So I was like, yeah, that's true. But yeah, the Fall of the House of Usher, I was just really surprised. I figured it would be good because all of his stuff is good, but I was really taken aback by how good this was. I was like, this is like Succession. This is like horror Succession.
Whoa.
And I was like, maybe not like Succession level good, but it was just like the characters, like these rich and these rich asshole archetypes, and the sons and daughters of the conglomerate billionaire. And I'm just like, man, this is like Succession, but scary, and gory. And I have to give a shout out to one of my coworkers, Bettina, who she is just the biggest Mike Flanagan fan of all time. And I'm always like trolling her, saying that House of Usher or The Haunting of Hill House is like one of the biggest Netflix mistakes in history. It's not. I just like to mess with it. I love that show. But she was like hounding me. She's like, have you and Sonia watched yet? Have you watched Hill House? I'm like, no, we've watched our Halloween movies. I'll get to it after Halloween. And she's like, okay, it's after Halloween. Have you and Sonia watched it? I'm like, okay, you must really like this show because you never gave a shit about the other shows like this one. So yeah, then I had to like eat crow about it because I was like, all right, it was really good. You were right. But I mean, nothing's going to take precedent over the Halloween movies. It's just those are staples for a reason. And
oh yeah.
But yeah, I do highly recommend Fall of the House of Usher. The way that, and it kind of like how Goosebumps involves their stories, it's the same way that Mike Flanagan did with Edgar Allan Poe's short stories. And each episode is named after an Edgar Allan Poe poem or book. And the way that these characters are dying, taken right out of the pages, but modernized. I was like, damn, this is so good. This is brilliant shit. Like, people who are working with Goosebumps and Usher, like Usher's like adult Goosebumps, but it's just like, it's so good, man. I highly recommend both of those damn shows. But that's all I have for right now. I did want to make a note about something. I host a trivia night here in Panama City, Florida, every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. at the place downtown. But I have audio clips, right, that I use in my my round 2. It's like all audio clips and stuff, and sometimes I'll put
Well, you're like
movies in there.
Jeopardy.
Yeah, exactly. So I had Home Alone this last week, right?
Bro,
And I
really?
was like,
Already with Christmas, man?
I'm getting it out of the way. But what was funny was like one of the teams had asked me, and because I hand the sheets back out after I grade them. Somebody brings them to me, I grade them, and then hand them back out to each team. And one of the teams, they asked me like, "Hey, you know, we know you like a lot of movies and stuff. What's the name of the movie in Home Alone?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "The one that he watched that you're not supposed to watch." I'm like, "Oh, I was like, the Angels with Filthy Souls." And she was like, "Yeah, yeah. What is that, a real movie?" I'm like, "No, it was made for the movie." I'm like, "How else do you think it works so well with the plot?" I'm like, "Do you think they wrote the movie around this movie that doesn't exist?" I'm like, "No, it was made up." I'm like, "That's why in Home Alone 2 you see angels with filthier souls." Like, it's not but my question is like, do people think that Angels with Filthy Souls is a real movie? I mean,
Hey,
did you?
man, for the longest time, I thought it may have been.
Yeah.
And, it wasn't until, I actually did kind of research on the thing that, oh shit, okay, they just made that up for the movie. And I was like, well, it makes sense, just like you said. But, I guarantee you there's a lot of people out there that think that is a real movie.
I guess you're right. And apparently that's why I was asked that. And I was like, yeah, I guess they do. Cause I mean, it's very effective how they did that movie. Like, it looks like an
Yeah.
old gangster movie. Like, it's shot well done. And John Hughes he always made jokes about how he's like, that movie's the best movie I've ever written. I was like, that's funny. But yeah, I just thought I would share that note because I was just gonna hold it out to the rest of the Screen Addicts listening fan base here. I'm like, do people think that we should I'm gonna make a post about
You
that.
should,
I'm gonna
man.
see what people think about that. I should have done that and then read the damn results, but
And then don't really put it out there and say, do you think this is a real movie? Because the people will be like, oh, this is a trick question. Of course it's not. Now just say, hey, has anybody ever seen this movie?
Okay.
And see how many people will lie.
So you're baiting them to make them
Oh,
look dumb.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Our listeners are stupid idiots. That's probably why they listen to us.
Yep.
I don't know, but I am really curious to know if people, because that's a fair question. Like, I wasn't trying to like make fun of the person that asked me, because I thought seriously, I was like, yeah, I guess you're right. Like, because like when I was a kid, I thought it was a real movie too, and then growing up, not a lot of people read the credits like I do in movies, and I'm like, oh, it had the Angels with Filthy Souls like kind of casted out, like the actor playing,
Right.
so I was like, oh damn, it was fake, it wasn't even real. But that's kind of how me and Jeremy figured out the Blair Witch Project wasn't real, because when that came out, everybody thought it was real. So we stayed till the end credits. We're like, there's only one way to put this to rest. So at the very end of the movie, it says like all characters are fictional and have been created for the sake of this motion picture. It's like, well, there you go. Not real. Let's go. But yeah, so I guess on to headlines. So yeah, you had mentioned something. I'll give it a 5 count there. But yeah, so yeah, on to headlines. And I had a couple, nothing too extensive here. And if you have anything you'd like to share, by all means. But the first one that I wanted to talk about, well, I guess I should say Creed 4 is in development, and they're working on bringing Rocky back into the fold. So I was like, I don't know why they would do that, because you actually pulled it off in Creed 3 without him. Like, just keep moving forward. And that one grossed a lot of money. It was a huge box office hit. So I don't know, I guess, but Michael B. Jordan, he loves Sylvester Stallone. He's got a lot of respect for him. And I guess maybe he just wants to bring him back into the fold too. But I don't know. Creed 4 is in development though.
How do you do it?
I mean, I don't know. Cause like even in Creed 2, like they worked him to be out of the story pretty much permanently. I mean, cause he's overseas now where his son lives. Like he flew to see his son, and I don't know. It can,
maybe he's gonna go and box wherever Rocky's at.
Yeah, I guess maybe Rocky will fight Creed.
There you go.
Let's just do it how it's supposed to be done.
Let's beat father and son.
Right.
That's fine.
So the next note I had here is Miyamoto from Nintendo has been working on a live action Legend of Zelda film, and not only has he been doing that, he's been doing that with the Spider Verse creator Avi Arad from Sony.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got some big help with this movie, and it's live action. And they said that Wes Ball has been tapped to direct. Now Wes Ball directed the Maze Runner movies, and he's actually the director of the new Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes movie that we shared the new trailer for. So that Wes Ball, he's got a lot of stuff going on. And Legend of Zelda, man, that's no small feat, because even someone like Peter Jackson has been trying to make a Zelda movie, but it's just never happened. But that should be interesting. And then I did notice like an influx of older films on Netflix and HBO, and I absolutely love it, because you know how Netflix and HBO are two that post the top 10 on each of their pages, like top 10 shows, top 10 movies,
Right.
and there's always like four or five in the top 10 movies that are old, like 90s, 80s, like stuff that we grew up watching, right, dude? On HBO Max, number 6 just 2 days ago was Major League. Major
Whoa.
League. I'm like, wow, that is so awesome. Like, I love that, because you damn right it's up there, because it's so good. Like, it deserves to be. Major League? You don't like Major League?
No, I'm
Oh,
just thinking of why it would hit number 6. And I'm like, I wonder if people like thought the Rangers were like Major League and
yeah.
just,
I mean,
just
yeah,
Google searched it and
yeah.
oh, okay, there's this movie about some weird ass baseball team that sucked and that was good. So,
I mean, underdog stories are always the best. They
yeah.
hold up the best. But I don't know. Major League Two back in the minors is nowhere near the top 10. By the
Oh no.
way,
Oh
it's
no.
so bad. Like, I've never seen a sequel just completely plummet after the original. It's so bad. But yeah, I saw that, and then I looked at the top 10 in Netflix. I was like, man, like 5 movies on here were from the early 2000s and 90s. I'm like, this is amazing. And I think a lot of people are watching these movies because back in the day, especially like something like Major League, dude, that is some unapologetic R-rated humor, and it's
Oh
funny
yeah.
as hell. And I think a lot of people watch that and they're like, man, this is actually really funny. Dude, Connor responds to so many movies like back then because they're so funny, and they just didn't give a shit. He's like, man, they didn't get in trouble for saying that. I'm like, no, man, it's the Wild West in the 90s. They said everything and did anything.
We
They didn't give
didn't
a
give a
shit.
shit. Yep.
I'm like, damn, I'm turning into like Archie Bunker or something. But like, it was just crazy to see that. And the next time you log into Netflix or HBO, just take a peek at what's in the top 10. And I guarantee you there's going to be at least one or two that are like old, and it's so
Yeah.
great that they're up there, because it's like, yeah, like Beetlejuice during Halloween was like 1 and 2
Oh
on
yeah.
HBO. I'm like, yeah, of course it is. Like, I mean, why wouldn't it be? And I just love that. Just keep going with the old ones, man. They never get
You
out
know,
of style.
you know the stupid old person saying, they don't make them like they used to. They don't.
Right.
They
They
don't.
sure don't, Chris. We had the best pictures in the day. Man, I just yeah,
Yeah.
it's so good. But the last note, or headline, unless you had anything else aside from this, was
Mm.
about Marvel. Marvel is in dire straits, my man. And I know as a DC mark, you are pretty pleased with this.
Yes, I
But
am.
Marvel, the Marvels, I should say, just absolutely flopped at the box office. It grossed $47 million opening weekend, and that is less than The Flash's 56. Now,
Yeah.
when The Flash grossed 56, I said, well, it was fun while it lasted, But then the Marvels at 47, and I just thought, wow. And people that have gone to see it have said that it's actually a really good, funny, entertaining movie. Like it's like
Mm-hmm.
felt like the best of what the MCU was 5-6 years ago, And while I don't doubt that, but you've got to factor in a couple of things here, man. Superhero fatigue is really out there, and there's just an
Yeah.
oversaturation of content. Like, Max has 5 or 6 DC shows to watch, not to mention all their movies. Marvel has about 6 or 7 shows to watch, and aside from that, all of their movies. And the thing that Marvel is now, it's starting to shoot them shoot him in the foot is the fact that you have to watch everything for this continuity to flow through their ongoing storyline. Whereas with DC, they're like, we'll do some one-offs here and there. It doesn't really have to, you don't really have to see this to understand this, and you'll be all right. But like Marvel, it's fine when you have like 2 movies a year to do that sort of thing where they're all interconnected and you lead up to the next Avengers movie. But now you've got to watch like Loki season 1 and 2, Arrow, and She-Hulk, all these shows now. You're like, damn, now I'm really going to be lost if I don't watch these.
Did you put Arrow in with the MCU just now?
I meant Hawkeye. I meant Hawkeye. I said Hawkeye.
Damn it.
You didn't hear Arrow, and I'm going to delete this. I'm going to scrub it like the fingernails.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I meant Hawkeye, but yeah, you have to watch Arrow to understand the Smallville universe. But Hawkeye and just all these shows. So I don't know, and not to mention a lot of people don't really shine on Brie Larson. There's like something about her that rubs a lot of people the wrong way.
It has ever since the first one. Like a lot of people are like, she's not it. Yeah. She's not it. I can't believe. And there's still a lot of people that are like, I don't like that casting. And,
right.
After watching the first Miss Marvel, I see it. I mean, she isn't the best, but she isn't the worst either. Right. So,
well, that's another show, Miss Marvel. I forgot about that too. Like, you got to watch that, and then you got to watch that shitty Moon Knight. Oh, that was awful, man. I thought it was awful. The more I think about it, I just cannot stand that one. But yeah, so that was the Marvels. It's looking pretty dire, man. And I don't know. I think that less content is better, even though they won't be doing that anymore. Now they feel like they have to continue to produce and produce and produce. And as if anybody's going to go anywhere. Like, the Marvel fan base is not going anywhere. If anything, you're making them go away. Right.
For it every year.
But another additional note to that was that Kevin Feige had mentioned something about trying to bring Robert Downey Jr. and Scarlett Johansson back into the fold, just to kind of see if he can reacclimate or put some lifeblood into this MCU. And I was like, well, now it'll feel forced because they're both dead. So anything you do now will look like it reeks of desperation and won't make much sense.
So, on my road trip this weekend, my brother Travis, he was all like, dude, have you seen the new trailer for the next Iron Man movie? I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah. He goes, yeah. Robert Downey Jr.'s back, and he's gonna be like the Jarvis to his daughter and this and that. And then I'm like, dude, that's not real. He's like, no, Disney put it out there. And I'm like, bro, let me see. And so he showed me, and I was like, bro, that's not real.
You're like, these are clips from Iron Man 3.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, it's not real. But
dude, I love when fake trailers do that, when they're so good that you're kind of like, okay. Dude, even I fell for that, man. When I posted about Prey, that the sequel, I was like, son of a bitch, he got me, man. This guy got me. Because I knew that they were making a Prey sequel, and I knew that it was going to take place a couple of, I think actually a lot further in the future. So that's why when I saw that Prey, No Man's Land about World War II, I was like, I didn't even think twice about it. I was so excited about it. And I was like, oh, this is it. This is the one. And then even you were like, bro, that's not real, man. That's a fake. I'm like, what? So then I did some research. I was like, oh, shit. So yeah, I deleted that right off our socials. I was like, I can't believe I got, man. That was good, though. But an effective spoof like that, those are good. Those are the best ones. But
maybe they should hire that guy to actually do the actual trailer. Because, damn.
Yeah. They and plus Marvel can use all the help that they can get, man. And but I don't know. Yeah, so they talked about bringing RDJ back, Scarlett Johansson back, and I'm like, bro, you just look like you're reaching now, man.
Oh,
But he did mention something about how now that they have acquired Fox, that they think with all the Jonathan Majors drama that they're going to reevaluate the new villain, and they're talking about bringing Dr. Doom in as the big bad. And I said, oh yeah, that already is a much better option, because I'm like, Kang, what? That's going to be follow up to Thanos as Kang the Conqueror? Like, I mean, I guess, but now someone like Doctor Doom, that dude was fighting on Earth and the cosmos. Like, he's everywhere. Like, that's the big bad that you need right there is Doctor Doom.
But I mean, okay, Doctor Doom, fine, but with that, you do have to bring in the Fantastic Four, and that hasn't been a great track record.
Yeah, I mean, because what is it? Jim Halpert's Reed Richards, he got messed up in that Doctor Strange, but I thought he was good. I liked how he looked. I thought, yeah, that looks
the
like a
look
good.
Was nice. Yeah,
I think that it'll be okay with whatever they do. I mean, because it's in different hands now, but I don't know. Maybe Jessica Alba can come back as Sue Storm and look nothing like Sue Storm.
Probably.
But yeah, man. So that's all I got as far as headlines. Do you have anything else that you read or want to share? Anything?
The only thing I really would like to say is, it's been a couple weeks since the passing of Matthew Perry, and my great friend Steven keeps sending me all the clips and memoirs of everybody posting about Matthew Perry and making me cry every freaking day because of it. But a couple of the cast members, Courtney Cox and Matthew LeBlanc, have finally posted about it, and some really touching stuff about their friend. Not necessarily a headline, but I still, it's still fresh to me, so I still have to talk about it.
No, that's a good headline because people have been waiting for them to hear what the cast members are going to say. I mean, that's kind of the one thing that everybody's almost waiting to hear is to hear what they have to say about the whole situation. I know that they probably want to be private about it for a while, but man, it's like difficult to not want to talk about it, especially let the fan base know because they care a lot about these characters, man. And yeah, that was pretty sad. Like I liked how Matt LeBlanc ended with a joke. He's like, "Well, I guess he's gonna keep that 20 he never, gave back or something." I thought that was funny, and Courtney Cox. I mean, she spent probably more time with him on the set of Friends than anybody, especially in the last half of the series, considering they're married and they spend all their scenes together basically. And but yeah, it's pretty good. And anytime that there's like a really sad edit, I just feel like you should share in my pain. That's why I send it to you immediately.
I really appreciate that.
I was like, I feel like Chris is having a good day. I think I'm going to just completely destroy him right now.
Yeah.
Because this shit is a good one. Yeah, some of them are really good. I'm like, God, these people whip this shit up fast. I can't do stuff that quick. But yeah, still so. Oh, I did watch 3 to Tango. I felt like watching that one again. It's so dumb, but I mean, I liked it, and Neve Campbell is gonna carry any movie for me that she's in. So, man, I thought it was funny back then. Maybe I was a little bit biased because my ex-girlfriend Neve Campbell was in it. So I don't know.
It happens that way sometimes. It's fine.
But to go to the main topic. And well, actually, before we do that, Chris, I was going to say that you did make a good point of saying that if you're sad or bummed out about something, that it's probably best that you contact BetterHelp. Because if you go to betterhelp.com and you can go in and say betterhelp.com/screenaddicts, for example, you get 10% off your first session and you can qualify with any therapist of your choosing. And the best part about BetterHelp, and one of the best parts, is that you can go in and meet at your own time and convenience. Like you could do a phone call, you could do a voice call, you can do a cam call, just whatever you feel comfortable with after choosing your own therapist. So again, go to betterhelp.com/screenaddicts and save 10% off your first session.
Do like I did and let other people listen to your pain. They don't judge you. Unlike Steven, he just keeps bringing the pain. It's
I definitely would not be good as a BetterHelp therapist.
Definitely not.
But that being said, on to another profession that likes to help. And, speaking of Veterans Day, we spoke on veterans and all those that served. But I would like to say that cops still serve every single day. And, there's always been like a real negative stigma in the media about police officers and stuff like that. And I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
get too deep into that kind of stuff because this isn't that kind of podcast, but I do know a lot of cops. Some are friends, some are family, and I've never not known one personally to want to do the best that they can possibly do, want to be, to serve, to protect, to do everything that entails being a cop. Because man, I'll watch like these Reddit pages, and that's kind of what inspired this topic. Is like I was on Reddit watching a cops page, like cop page. Man,
Uh-huh.
some of the shit that these cops have to deal with, man, I am not
Oh,
about
dude.
to do any of that shit. And I'm not about to go into a building with crackheads and start opening fire. No, man, that isn't me. But it is those heroes. And I just feel like, again, with the negative stigma, I think it'd be good to talk about it in a more positive manner. Because, like I said, friends and family. But
Mm-hmm.
that being said, we are going to be ranking our top 3 fictional cops, not the real ones, but
Not the real ones.
the fictional ones. And I have to think that even some of my fictional ones are kind of shitty, but they're still my favorite cops on television. And we will have a couple of honorable mentions because this one is stacked. Again, we
Oh
picked
my
a
gosh, so
broad ass
stacked.
topic, and I think that with movies not being a part of this, it helps a little bit.
Yeah.
Not much, but it does. Because there are a shit ton of detective shows, and even when you were talking about some on your list, I was like, "Damn, that's old school." I forgot. Like the 70s, and 80s were just a haven
Dude.
of cop dramas,
Cops.
just
Yes.
everywhere. But that being said, Chris, go ahead and kick us off with your number 3 favorite police officer character or characters.
Okay. So yeah, I'm definitely pulling a Steven in this one, and I couldn't just pick one. So there's 2 on my number 3, but luckily they're on the same show. Okay. And this show ran from 19. It started in 1994. Ran like 4 seasons only. But the show is New York Undercover,
Oh
and
yeah,
the cops, J.C. Williams and Eddie Torres, Detective J.C. Williams. Sorry, I've got to put the respect on their name.
he earned that title,
They
Chris.
did, absolutely. So, Detective J.C. Williams and Detective Eddie Torres, both, man, I loved this show back in '94. I can distinctly remember me saying to myself, and which is weird, but when the show started in '94, I'm be like, and kids, this is not the time where we had streaming or DVR or TiVo or any of that. So we had to actually watch it live
Mm-hmm.
and wait week to week for a new episode. So this was the very first show that I was like, you know what? I'm going to make sure I am home weekly to watch the show because I want to keep up with it because I really loved the first couple of episodes. So I was like, man, I really want to sit down and make sure I watch this from beginning to end. And this is one that I did, and I still really like the show. I don't know if you can stream it anywhere right now, though. I'll look that up just in case later. But man, both I think this is one of the first shows where it really highlighted, like at the end you're always in their bar with a live performance of a huge artist,
Yeah.
a huge pop artist. And and I say huge pop artist, and they had like uh Aaliyah and Erica Badu, Bone Thugs and Harmony, Boys to
Yeah.
Men, Brandy. They had so many huge stars come on this show, and it's just for like background music as they're wrapping up their case.
Right.
So which was really really cool, and I think a bunch of shows after that kind of played off of that kind of ending of shows, just kind of let you down from the week because everything was so high drama, and then
Mm-hmm.
okay, it's the end of the episode, your hour's over, and we're gonna take you down. You can have some drinks and listen to some Bone Thugs and Harmony. It was great.
Hell yeah. I actually looked it up for you, and it is streaming on Peacock and Prime.
Oh, there you
So
go.
if you have, dude, I might fire up a couple of these on Peacock, bro.
Yeah.
I love New York Undercover. Me and my mom watched that. I think there was a lot of Fox shows back in the day because Fox at the time, that was the most cutting edge TV. That was basically like the FX
Uh-huh.
back in the 90s, you know, because they were doing a lot of things on there that were pretty gritty. And I think that with New York Undercover, it really appealed to a younger demographic, whereas something like NYPD Blue, right? NYPD Blue was super popular back in the day. But that was more of like your dad's kind of cop show.
Right.
Whereas New York Undercover, you've got Williams, like these are young guys and they look young and you know they're kicking ass and they look cool because they're wearing like normal clothes that you would wear, or you
And the
know,
baggy jeans
yeah,
and then the
exactly,
nice
the
and then
flannels.
right.
And you know Torres is wearing the tank
The
top under
vest.
his yeah, and I'm just like, man,
Yeah.
these guys are so cool. And you know, I'm sorry, you can go and look at Dennis Franz's ass all you want, but I'm sticking with these guys, and that's a great duo. That's a good pull. I definitely agree with the. I mean, because you can't really pick one or the other
No.
in that case, dude. And I remembered a storyline in that where Williams's girlfriend got killed by Ice-T. You remember Ice-T was
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
his like mortal enemy in that show, and Ice-T
Mhm.
had like a multi-episode run on New York Undercover, and I think that was like the peak of the show ratings wise whenever he killed his fiance, and I was like,
Yeah.
what, son of a bitch, that's so messed up. And man, that was good though, and
And
that's
now
pre Law and
Ice-T's a
Order.
cop.
Yeah, now he was like, I'll reevaluate my decisions to be a cop now. The guy that's saying cop killer, you know, it's just so crazy. But yeah, New York Undercover, that's a solid pick. Man, I love when you pull a Steven. I mean, that's not what I mean, but you know what I mean.
Whoa, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So my number 3 is a character played by Andre Brower in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. This would be Captain Raymond Holt. Love everything about this character. He's so funny. He's basically like Ron Swanson's twin brother, except he's an African American gay cop. And it's like he has so many stereotypes all meshed into one absolutely amazing deadpan character. And Andre Brower, what's so funny is like he had made a note, or he had done an interview where they were like, how do you play Captain Holt so well? Like you play him so straight and so serious. Like how is it even possible to do that with everybody else around you being so manic and crazy? And he said, well, the producers had told me that I was doing a serious cop drama and they just never told me that I was doing a comedy. And I was like, that's hilarious because that's exactly how he plays it. Like he's in Law and Order when everybody else is in the Muppets or something, you know? And I've always, and just recently watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I think that that character is just so good. He's so funny, has the best story arcs. His husband is a guy named Kevin Costner, not Costner, but Costner, and it's just like
With a Z.
exactly, yes, and it's
Okay.
just so funny, and just how he is about everything, and how he is about Cheddar, his little puppy dog, is just, man, nobody will ever have a relationship more beautiful than that captured on
Mm.
television screens. It's just, did you see Brooklyn Nine-Nine? You never watched that,
Dude,
right?
I have never watched it. I have a lot of people saying
Yeah.
it was really, really good. So
Yes.
it may be one I have to binge sometime
And
soon.
it's an easy binge, man, because like that's how
Yeah.
I can get Connor into these sitcoms. Because oh, we just finished Parks and Recreation not too long ago, and
Hmm.
that was my second watch of it. I watched it when it originally aired, and hadn't watched it in like 10 years since it ended. I can't believe it's been so long. So me and Connor did a watch of that one and finished it. Yeah, he loved it. He was like, "Oh, I like this better than The Office." He's like, "These characters I thought were funnier
Whoa.
than the characters in The Office," and I'm like, you know what? I always said Ron Swanson's my favorite TV sitcom character of all time, like top 3 easily. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, maybe you're right. Like they're really good, but as far as like Captain Raymond Holt, man, he's so funny. And yeah, I would definitely recommend Brooklyn Nine-Nine to anybody that loves And another thing that's impressive about Brooklyn Nine-Nine, it's like it's a cop show. Like, how are you going to make a comedy about a cop show? And then I was like, well, how are you going to make a comedy about a medical drama? And here Scrubs exist, you know? And it's like it's possible,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's my number 3 is Captain Raymond Holt, played by Andre Braugher. Now, I'll loop up to my number 2, and
Mm-hmm.
this is probably the most serious, badass character on my top 3 list. Okay, and he's a chief. He's a police chief of police, and so he's the head honcho, and he has
Top of
to
all cops.
cop of all cop, the cop, head cop, and so he has to oversee an entire city, and they bend at his will. They fear this man. They kind of respect this man. But this is Police Chief Wiggum from The
Oh,
Simpsons.
I mean, he never ages.
I love him. He's my favorite Simpsons character. Top 3. I have always loved Chief Wiggum. And of course his son Ralph is even just as funnier too, man. That whole damn Wiggum family. I just want to be nowhere near them, but I want to watch them on TV. And everything that Chief Wiggum and man, Madison, she could do a killer Chief Wiggum impression. It is so funny, her impersonation of him. I need to have her send in an audio clip. Like,
yes,
hello.
please.
I don't even know how she does it, but it's so funny. And but yeah, Chief Wiggum. You know what was funny was that whenever the movie had come out in 2007, there was this whole marketing campaign. They had chosen about 10 different 7-Elevens across the country, and they went and reworked those 7-Elevens into Quickie Marts. So they placed the siding of the, like, they didn't remove anything or remodel it. Like, they just basically put labels over the 7-Eleven and turned them into Quickie Marts. Like, it was really impressive how they did that. And then on the inside, they had a lot of standouts in there. Like, they had a Pooh at the counter. Bart and Milhouse were at the soda machine trying to, like, you know, get soda freeze out, whatever. They had Buzz Cola Duff beer. It was root beer, but still. And then there was my favorite, Chief Wiggum by the Donuts. I've got to see if Sonya still has that picture somewhere, because I took a picture with Chief Wiggum, and it was just one of the best days of my life. And he was just a damn cardboard. That's how highly I think of Police Chief Wiggum.
Oh my gosh. I
Now,
can't believe Chief Wiggum has cracked the top 3. We're going to get so much shit for this.
They can bring it, baby. I will defend that man. Oh my God. He's so damn funny. And even Sonny's like, he's so stupid. Why do you like it? I don't know, but anytime that man says something, it's comic gold, and I'm laughing my ass off. So, all right, Chris, you're number 2. Good luck.
Yeah. It's hard to follow that one up for sure. I'm going to try though. My number 2 is what I think, like, if I was a cop, this is the cop I would be. And, you know, not just saying physical stature, because this is an overweight cop. I don't know how much people we're running down, but, you know, damn it, we have morals and we teach our children correctly. And so for those reasons, I am going with the cop, Carl Winslow.
Yes!
From Family Matters.
Oh man.
Yeah. Dude, he's the epitome of TV dad. A cop and one of the best advice givers. Like, you know, yes, go to BetterHelp, but if you don't have time to go to BetterHelp, just watch a couple of episodes of Family Matters and listen to Carl on life advice, you know? And it's so much now that there's a commercial where they're like, oh, one of the best TV dads, and it's Carl Winslow giving you advice.
Yeah.
So
that's a great pick, man. I mean, Family Matters is just so wholesome. And I mean, even when they try to do like hard, edgier episodes, it's still like, oh, this is still sweet, you know? But man, Carl Winslow, he's just like, that's such a great character, because not only is he a wholesome dad, but he's just a wholesome person, and he wants to do right. I mean, he's a cop in Chicago, and you know, he has a tough job, and still comes home and loves his family. He doesn't, man, because if this was like a serious drama, if Family Matters was like a drama, he'd be coming home pissed off. He'd be
All the
he'd be
time.
a drunk. He'd be
That's right.
slapping Steve Urkel's ass right out of the house. Urkel would never even show up if this was a real story. But man, you know, it's something about Reginald Vell Johnson too, is that his character from Die Hard, you know, Al Powell, I mean, he's a cop too. So it's like a lot of people like to say, no, that's Carl Winslow. Like Al Powell, nothing. And then even in that show, Chuck, he shows up as Al Powell. So I'm like, oh, Al Powell is on TV. So now it's like, there's some weird like lines being crossed here, man. This is so funny. But that episode was really funny. But yeah, but Carl Winslow, man, that's a great pick. I could have put that on my top 3 too. I mean, just growing up with that character, that's a good one.
Man, and you know, us saying, you know, back in the 90s, like we said before, is like a Wild West. We didn't give a shit what we said. It's one of the shows that did watch what they say, and did, like you said, was super wholesome, and one of the shows that you could watch as a family and just not be scared of what was about to come out of somebody's mouth, or what the topic of the episode is. And, you know, of course, they had some of their more serious episodes where it dealt with some really real world shit, but it, all in all, great show, great cop. And like I said, we're not running down nobody, me and Carl. We just throw like some shit at them, and hopefully they fall down, because
that's what the squad car's for.
We ain't catching nobody.
You know, I think all of them are on Hulu too. I think you could stream Family Matters on Hulu last time I checked. But yeah, that's a good one. Oh, and also Urkel should have ended up with Myra and not Laura. I'm just saying.
What?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah. Dude, no, I'm not gonna get into this right now, but
no,
but great pick.
Anyway.
So,
all right,
okay.
Honorable mentions, right?
Yes. Please go ahead, because I have a ton, and I'm going to just mark them off as you say them. So,
all right. So, my first honorable mention is our parents love these cops, and it is the bike cops from Chips.
Yeah,
Poncherelli and Baker, and you know that people still love these guys. I still hear people talk about them. Even though they had that shitty remake with Dax Shepard, right?
Oh, yeah.
That was bad. Don't ever do that. Rough. Yeah, don't watch that. Just go watch the original series. It'll be fine. I don't remember much about it, but I remember those bikes were badass.
And the then, Aviators, bro.
Yeah, the Aviators, of course. And then I had Crockett and Tubbs from Miami Vice.
Oh, yeah.
Had
they were cool
Barney
cops.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, that they were kind of like 80s cool, how Torres and Williams were 90s cool.
Oh, for real.
I mean, they were very stylistic, and the suits that they were wearing, like, come on, man. I mean, that was just, even your boy Ross and Chandler had to dress up rolling up the sleeves, you know,
with the shoes made of wicker. That's
exactly. Man, good pick.
And then Andy Taylor and Barney Fife,
fucking wholesome messy kids, my man.
And then I have also newer Bosch.
Oh yeah.
Bosch, Detective Bosch. Tasha got me into that show. It's really, really good.
Is that Titus Welliver, right? Is Bosch?
Yep, Titus Welliver. So if you haven't seen that one, you can watch that one on Hulu. It's really good. If you're into cop shows, definitely really good.
I never watched it. I heard it was good though.
Yeah, it is good. And then my last honorable mention, I have the best cop. He almost cracked the top 3. I'm gonna be honest, but it was really close. But Roscoe Coltrane.
Oh shit! Yeah,
from Dukes of Hazzard, baby.
Almost cracked the top 3, and you're giving me shit about Chief Wiggum. But then again, you didn't put it in your top 3. So
that's right. That's almost a good point. Yeah. But those are my honorable mentions. What do you got?
That's the funniest. Oh man, I from another comedy. You know, it's funny that a lot of people don't realize this, but Frank Drebin, before he was in the Naked Gun movies, he was in From the Files of Police Squad, the television series that Leslie Nielsen portrayed him at first. So Frank Drebin's technically a TV cop before he was a movie cop. The Reno 911 Police Department, Lieutenant Dangle, and all them, all funny. Lenny Briscoe from Law and Order, Benson and Stabler from Special Victims Unit. You know, you got to talk about Christopher Maloney and Mariska Hargitay. Like, talk about staples in television series, man. I mean, that show's been Law and Order's been on the air for like 30 years, so SVU's been on for like 20 years, it seems like. You know, and this is when Hank Schrader. I mean, DEA, he's still kind of a cop. That's why I was like, I don't think he would be on here so much. This is another reason why I did put like Mulder and Scully, because they're the FBI. They're not like cops. Like, they're more on a different government level. And so I'm like talking about beat cops, you know, like let's get it. And Vic Mackey from The Shield is probably the worst example of a cop, but he gets the job done when he needs to, man. He's a pretty rough bastard. We had mentioned Sipowicz, played by Dennis Franz, or more or less his ass. Did you know that, like, back in the 90s, like, that was the first time that they showed someone's ass on primetime television, was on NYPD Blue, and it was Sipowicz. Really? I'm like, Kim Delaney's right there, man, and you're giving me Dennis Franz? Like, what the hell? I'm going back to New York Undercover.
Damn right.
But and now you're talking about some old school cops like Joe Friday from Dragnet, Cagney and Lacey, Starsky and Hutch, Jim Street from SWAT, TJ Hooker, I guess Magnum PI, but he was like a PI, private investigator. It's not really like a cop, but he acts as one.
Did cop stuff,
yeah. So I think that's about it that I could think of, and I'm sure there's a ton more. As a matter of fact, there are a ton more. We're just trying to paint a picture as broadly as we can.
And what we're doing is really, you know, we're letting our listeners, and we'll post, you know, tell us your favorites. If we missed them, we did it on purpose because we want you to engage with us, right?
That's right. What's funny is, like, everybody's gonna say all the cops that we already mentioned. Right. We already said that, when you fool.
How many people do you really think are gonna have your back on Chief Wiggum?
Man, I'm gonna put that out there. I'm like, was Chief Wiggum? Well, I can't say he was a good cop because he's shit, but I meant, like, as far as beloved,
character wise, yeah.
But yeah, that's all I had. So I guess I'll go with my number one, so you can close, since it's a TV platform this week. My number one is from Cheerio, England. Is DCI John Luther, portrayed by Daddy Idris Elba. Now, John Luther is a guy that, almost like Vic Mackey, but not as corrupt. He has his demons, but yet all he wants to do is get the bad guys, and he has to hunt and chase down some really terrible individuals. And his relationship that he has with just a sociopathic serial killer, Alice, it's so engaging, man. And you're like, what are they gonna do? Like, where is this gonna go? And the twists in that show are just jaw-dropping. There's certain moments in that series that you're just like, holy shit, that is so crazy. I can't believe that just happened. And his detective style, sometimes he gets lucky, sometimes he's just right on point, but I mean, he's just my favorite on-screen cop, because that series is one of the best cop series I have ever seen in my entire life. It's fantastic. It's so good that they even made the movie. I'm like, they keep continuing on with the story just because it's a character that people love so much. The Fallen Son was okay. Like, the movie was fine. It wasn't great or anything. It wasn't on the same level as the series, but it was still good. But that was my point, like I was saying. Like, they still want to just continue on with this character just because people love it so much. And I definitely love it, which is why DCI John Luther is my number one. So
very nice. Never seen it. I'm gonna have to watch it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I know. Didn't you watch the movie though? And you were like, I didn't understand it. Yeah, I remember now. Yeah. You and Tasha were like, "Oh, I didn't understand anything." I'm like, "Yeah, no shit. You had to watch the show first. It's a continuation." That's
I'll
hilarious. But
watch it backwards. It's fun.
yeah, you're watching it Memento style.
Yeah.
But all right.
All
So you're
right.
number one, man.
So I do have to admit, I had a number one picked. And I was going to go with Reacher.
Oh, yeah.
Because Reacher was really good. But then listening to you explain, he was more of a military cop. So it was more government. So I was like, okay,
Sure.
maybe he doesn't count. So I was like, what can I do to replace? And then it hit me like a bat in the night. Especially it's my boy Ben McKenzie.
Oh, shit.
Portraying Detective James Gordon in Gotham.
That is a good pick.
Dude, Gotham is so good. Oh,
That's a really
so
good pick. I am impressed.
And man, because I love Reacher, and it's a damn good copish show. But again, you said military, government,
Well, even
FBI don't
even
really count.
the way that he is in the show, he's not even a military cop. He's a former cop, so he's just like a do-gooder that doesn't really even have
rogue
any
vigilante.
Exactly, like he's a big ass Punisher, is what he is.
So, but a real cop, Detective James Gordon, protecting the city in Gotham, and I love this show because it's everybody's all, and we talked about superhero fatigue and stuff that keeps going and continuity. Gotham is a standalone. You don't have to know anything about other DCEU properties to watch this. It introduces a lot of people to villains that you may have never heard of in the DC universe, and it lets more of real world what may have to happen with the cops and the police department handling this without a Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben McKenzie, man, loved him since the OC.
Sure.
And then when this show first comes out, it's like, oh, is he going to be able to pull this off? And yeah, he did. He did really, really good with it. And that is why he's my number one pick.
You know what I thought you were going to say when you said Ben McKenzie was Southland. Did you ever see Southland?
I've watched a little bit of it, not all of it.
Because he's a beat cop in that. That's where I thought you were going. And then when you dropped Gotham, it just hit me. I was like, son of a bitch, that's brilliant. That's an amazing choice. Like, that's a really good, strong number one. I was like, that's way better than Southland. But
Southland was good, but
it was, but I don't know why I went there instead of Gotham. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. But that's a really good show. And I always hear about how like what you were saying, like it's nice to have a one-off, and that's kind of what DC specializes in, is one-offs and stuff. But how many seasons did that end up running? How many was, like, 6?
It ran 6. It ran from 2014 to 2019, I believe.
Okay. So like 5 seasons, I guess. 5 or 6
about
seasons?
5 seasons.
Yeah.
So,
man, you know something crazy?
You've never watched it, huh?
Still never saw it. I had this like weird thing about it where I'm such a comic loyalist asshole to the books that I'm like, what's this crap? And then I said that like when Smallville came out, right? I'm like, oh man, I don't want to. This is weird. This is like new lore. I don't really get into it. But I mean, I watched Smallville for 10 years straight and loved it. Even when it was the drizzling shits, I still loved it. But I'll give Gotham a chance. I never. Is it still on Netflix? I think it was streaming on Netflix last time I checked. I don't know. It's got to be somewhere, but I'll find it.
It's probably on HBO.
Yeah, you would think with the DC stuff, but
yeah,
I'll have to look for it. But yeah, I watched this stupid ass Pennyworth before I watched that.
Dude, Pennyworth. Jeez.
It was okay, but
It
yeah,
was all right.
I definitely should have invested my time in something like Gotham because,
Hey,
knowing what it is.
guess where you can stream it, my friend?
Where?
Where else is everything?
My house.
Tubi.
Son of a bitch! I gotta watch it with commercials. No way.
And it's on Max.
Oh God, thank you. I was like, I mean, I can watch movies on TV on Tubi because they're just movie, but like a whole show, I can't watch that many damn commercials. That's where that's where it gets back involved. But so that's awesome pick, man. That's a good way to round out the list. I like how you flipped it on the end there because I was like, wait, are you gonna do what Jeremy did to me with Dead Alive? You're not gonna let me have Reacher? I was gonna be so. You let me put Chief Wiggum on there, and I could have had Reacher, but yeah,
hey, this was your rules.
That's true,
that
but you were right.
So
you're right. So I'm glad that neither of us can use it. Man, that would have been a bitter pill.
Oh, that would have been bad.
But so yeah, and then I guess to close out the show before your beautiful announcements, we had a couple of questions that
oh my gosh
were answered. I guess the first one here, let me see if I can pull it up. We had fielded the questions on our socials just to see if anybody wanted to ask a question or anything. We were kind enough to oblige. So the first one was from all of our longtime listeners. First one, Allison Dakota says, "What are your top 3 favorite movies that have come out this year so far?" And oh man, I was like thinking about that because it's probably good to start compiling the top 10 list for our top 10 list episode in January. But I don't know, it's a really fine line as far as what I consider my favorite movies, like favorite in terms of it being like a quality awards winning movie or in terms of just being my favorite. And if I'm saying that, I would say something like I love The Flash, like no matter how much trash it got, and I love Blue Beetle. I've watched both of those movies multiple times now. That Flora and Son that I just watched, I would highly recommend that one. That one's a great movie. When Evil Lurks, that horror movie that I saw on Shudder, man, that movie I still am thinking about that movie to this day. It's crazy. Tetris was also really good. And I guess what was it? Across the Spider-Verse. I really think that that's one of the best movies of the year. That's a technical marvel, no pun intended. But I think those movies are probably my favorite ones so far. What's funny too is like the awards movies are coming out in November, December, mostly in December. So it's like all of the candidates for the best picture of the year usually come out around December time. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see a couple more there. I mean, what would you say was your favorite so far this year? If you had to pick one.
Oh man, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a loaded question.
Opera.
But nothing released this year?
Oh, this year. I thought you just meant that I was watched this year.
Well, I don't know. She doesn't really specify. That came out this year. Yeah. So
it came out this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Texas Rangers World Series, does that count as a movie? Pretty cinematic.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, to answer that, just follow back up with us in January when we give our top 10 lists that we curated and compiled for this. But another one is good old Trevor Alonso says, talk about which Marvel should be doing. Talk about what Marvel do moving forward. Yeah, we kind of
blow it up. Fucking all go to the trash, Trevor. That's what it should do. It should just stop in existence. It should be snapped out of existence. Is what should be done.
Galactus swallows it whole. I mean, yeah, but like kind of like what we said. I mean, I think less is more with Marvel. It always has been. The oversaturation of content is killing it. I think it's just too much, and I think it's burning people out. It caught up to them. I think less should definitely be more for the future for them. So
yeah.
And then I guess the final one, probably your buddy or somebody.
Adam. My buddy Adam.
You go ahead and read these off. He had like a couple of questions.
Oh yeah, he did. Of course he did. All right, let me get to it here.
Well, here he says if
I guess.
Batman was going to lose to one Marvel hero and lose good, who would it be and how would it happen?
Oh man, I would say he would lose to. Does Batman get prep time?
I always.
Always okay. I'm guessing, dude. Just I would have to say Hulk
Yeah,
because he's more like Bane.
I was thinking Thor, like someone with pure raw power,
Yeah,
like yeah, that makes the most sense. I don't think you can prep for the Hulk too much, man. Um so you say Hulk, I say Thor, but
mm,
pretty much the same line as far as strength goes. Like he's just
yeah.
getting overpowered. Next question he had was favorite cocktail that has appeared in a superhero movie, not just
And a
any movie, but a
superhero.
superhero movie. I don't really recall any of these superheroes boozing it up while they're trying to save the day.
Me either.
I think Iron Man is definitely one that would probably be drinking more than anybody. Bruce Wayne has had a couple of cocktails, especially in the Dark Knight. He drinks a lot in the Dark
Does
Knight.
James Bond count as a superhero?
I
Because a
don't
martini's
I don't think
shaken, not stirred,
I mean
bro.
that's kind of a stretch, but I don't know. That's another one. Man, these are good questions because it makes you think like I've never really thought too much about booze and superhero movies. Is there like one that's fueled by beer or something? Duff Man.
There you go.
But I don't know. I can't think of anything else. The only cocktail I could think of is a White Russian. And
Molotov, Molotov cocktail.
yeah, an Atomic Blonde.
Yeah,
But favorite cocktail that appeared. I like how he's specific to a superhero
superhero
movie, not
movie. I
just like
know.
any movie. But that's hilarious. And then next to last question was, what movies are you running while you cook Thanksgiving this year? Oh, so I mean, Thanksgiving movies, which we
Stand by
have.
me.
the pie, the pie scene.
Absolutely.
That's so nasty. Lord ass for the win. That shit is disgusting, man. I hated that as a kid. Like I was like, what is going on? I was gonna say something more like planes, trains, and automobiles, just because
Oh,
I think
it's a
last year,
Thanksgiving movie.
right? I would assume. I mean, so you're just putting any random shit on. That's you're like,
I, I'm going one with food scenes, and that's it is a big food scene.
that is
It's
too
either
much, man.
that or Hook.
Hook. Oh man, yeah. I guess that's what he meant, right? I mean, I guess I don't know. That could be interpreted as food scenes. I was thinking Thanksgiving movies. I don't know, fucking Freebirds. Who knows? What, whatever we feel. The Macy's Day Parade.
Shit,
And then I guess
Adam.
that last question is definitely something that you may know something about. I don't know. He says, "How long does it take to air fryer a turkey?" This is all you in your cooking world.
Okay, so there's a saying out there from the one of the most well-known pit masters in the world, Aaron Franklin. Okay, the saying is, good barbecue comes from years and years of bad barbecue. Okay, you learn. And, I have a story about how I learned because I made some shitty stuff last year. And so
Oh,
I had all my grills were down. I didn't have charcoal. I didn't prepare correctly. We'll just say
damn.
this, okay?
Hmm.
So I had the brilliant idea to chop up the turkey. This is like a fucking 20-pound huge fucking turkey, okay?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'll just quarter this bitch up. I'm going to throw it in my air fryer and see if I can
Oh,
get this shit done.
yeah.
I end up burning up my air fryer and it quit working. And
Oh
we didn't
shit.
have we didn't have turkey for a Friendsgiving. So for the last year I've heard nothing but shit from my friends Oh, how's that air fryer turkey going this year? Man, y'all shut the hell up.
You know what you're gonna have to do, right? Is you're gonna have to use the air fryer and figure it out how to get it to where you need
I
to
know.
prove them all wrong. You need to be
Shit.
vindicated, like that Dashboard Confessional song.
But they just don't let the shit go, okay? I
No,
understand I
man.
messed up. I'm sorry. But they keep bringing it up.
Man, this is a good tell-all right now. This is some hot
I know.
news. This is better than anything in the headlines. I mean, I don't know
uh,
shit about any of that stuff, so I'm like, I would have thought, yeah, why not put it in the air fryer?
just don't make, just if you ever do, just cut it into smaller pieces.
Yeah,
That's what, because I literally like try to put the whole fucking
the
leg
whole
quarter of a turkey in
the whole
there.
bird.
I thought the air fryer would handle it.
Yeah.
Nope.
You know what I was thinking was when Scott Calvin's burning the turkey in the Santa Claus and he's just spraying the fire extinguisher all into
Oh
the.
yeah.
I could just see you burning out
Jesus.
the air fryer with the fire extinguisher.
It was
Oh my
bad.
god.
It
Well,
was real bad.
so I guess that doesn't answer his question exactly, but time
No,
will tell with
because
that one.
it is the age old question that'll never be answered. Just like the other one, how many licks does it take to get the center of a Tootsie Pop?
3. That's what the owl said.
That's a, oh yeah. Half of our audience won't know that, but it's fine.
Man, do you got any more like early 90s commercials that you want to drop? Did you watch that during an episode of New York Undercover?
I probably did. It's
Probably.
fun.
I can't believe that's on Peacock. That made my day, man. I'm gonna go start watching that. It's so good. What was the girl, Lauren Valdez, or what was her name? And she was in Dexter too. She ended up being a cop in
Oh yeah,
Dexter. What's her name? Lauren Velez. Or what's the
yeah.
actress's name? And then she was the one that was kind of hooking up with Torres and stuff. Oh man, that was a good show. I love that show.
It's a great show.
But
And then no, you know what? Before you go rewatch that, go watch Gotham. Jeez.
oh yeah, I'll start
Something. No, you won't.
it. I will.
As
I'll
soon
send
as
you.
as soon as you finish X-Files or what?
Oh man, I've got 4 left. I've got 4 left, and I'm letting them marinate. Like
I know you are. It's been like 7 years, and you don't want to finish it.
I don't want it to end. I've basically watched it in real time now. It's been so damn long. But yeah, I don't want it to end. Dude, I was doing my Dawson's Creek rewatch too. They pulled them all off on Max. But luckily, they're on Hulu. But you know what? On
Okay.
Hulu, they have that shitty intro. The one that isn't Paula
Oh,
Cole's.
Mhm.
That one that they redid for syndication. The heart is in my head. I'm like, what the hell, man? Why do I have to get stuck with this crap? I should just play Paula Cole in my earbuds until the opening credit, because I
There
still
you
love
go.
watching the credits. I'm sorry, but yeah. So Gotham, we'll see. So your due diligence, my man. Send us
All right.
off.
Guys and ladies and gentlemen, thank you always, as always, for listening to another episode of the Screen Addicts podcast, wherever you're listening to us, whether it's Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio. We're on all of the platforms. And since you're there already, go ahead, hit subscribe so you know and you get notified every time we drop a new episode. Also, while you're there, go ahead and leave us a 5-star review. Would be amazing. It just helps us get seen a little bit more on the search platforms out there. And then after you're done with all of that, head over to any of the social media platforms you're on, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, X, or TikTok, and search up the Screen Addicts podcast and make sure and give us a follow. Just look for our cover art. You are sure to find us. And then after you're done with all that, go all the way back to Facebook and search for our private group called the Screen Addicts Fanatics. We'd love to have you as one of our fanatics. Send us invite, try to join the group. We'll approve you. We'll get you in there. That is where we're most active, dropping movie news and trailers and TV news and all the things that you need to keep up with the entertainment industry. Also,
I forgot the SAG strike was over. How the hell did we forget
dude,
that?
how do we? not
Wow,
talk
that should have
about
been
that.
like #1 headline opening the show. SAG strike is over. Chris, continue.
SAG strike is over. We're gonna get new movies and TV.
Fine.
It's
in
amazing.
2025.
That's right. Oh, just edit this into the beginning of headlines. It'd be
You
fun.
betcha.
All right, guys. But if you have any questions or comments saying, like, hey, guys, why didn't you talk about the SAG strike being over? You can email us at screenaddictspodcast@gmail.com. We will read any and all emails that come through that are not bashing us about not talking about the SAG strike. Whatever.
We'll read those too.
Okay, we will. You know what? We just saved it for the next episode so we could go in more depth.
That was going to be the entire episode. See, what I did was actually previewed the next episode by saying the SAG strike was over right now.
Absolutely. There you go.
Fixed it.
Done. All right, guys. Again, thanks for joining us. But as for me, good night.
Adios, amigos.